Hi, everybody. Kevin Lonnquist, publisher of Sikkim Sports, continuing our series with all the Baylor members of the 2019 team who have had their opportunities to become members of the NFL. We're now talking with defensive end James Lockhart, who played his last two seasons at Baylor after transferring from Texas A&M. Recently signed his free agent agreement with the Pittsburgh Steelers, or as we all like to call them, the Curtain. And James, you're going to be a member of the Curtain, or at least compete for a spot to be a part of the famous curtain, the steel curtain. Congratulations to you. What was that moment like when you had a verbal agreement with the Steelers and then you were obviously signing your agreement to get things started with them?
It was surreal, man. It was very surreal. I just remember watching the drafts. It was towards the end of the sixth, towards the end of the seventh. And I get a call from my agent, Joshua Stevens, at the time, and I was like expecting him to just let me know if teams were interested, whatever. I didn't expect it to be the call. He called me and I spoke with the general manager and everything, and the conversation was good and lengthy, and it was just very, very surreal, man. It was very, very surreal, but it was definitely very, very rewarding.
Let's talk about the other teams that you were talking about. You probably felt like, and I'm sure all the indications were that you probably were not going to get drafted unless you had seen anything differently. But as you're preparing for the potential of a free agent signing, were you talking to other organizations, and did you feel like you were down to like two or three, or did the Steelers come out of nowhere, or were they kind of like the leaders in the clubhouse all the way through?
Well, I had a really decent amount of teams contact me, believe it or not, way more than I was even expecting. I guess the teams, other than the Pittsburgh Steelers, that were really showed the most interest, I would say the New York Giants, the Panthers, and the Packers. Those are probably the teams that showed the most interest. And I remember towards the end of the football season, this past football season, that Coach McGuire and Coach Oakham just telling me that, hey, the Pittsburgh Steelers asked about you, and we had like a long meeting. And Coach Rule mentioned that to me too at some point. So I knew they were interested. I knew those were one of the teams during the season that were interested in me, but I didn't think nothing of it. I was, so locked on, focused on the season. And then I remember, I would say this past week, that Tuesday or Wednesday, I talked to my agent, and he said that, he spoke with the Pittsburgh Steelers, their general manager, for a good 30 minutes about me and everything. And they seemed very, very high on me. And then, ultimately I got the call this past Saturday, and the rest was, history.
So let's talk about your senior season there, because this was a season for you that you were, if you could stabilize that other side, the opposite side of James Lynch, it really was going to create something for that Baylor defensive front. And that trio between you and James and Bravion Roy in the middle really established itself as one of the formidable defensive fronts during the 2019 season, not only for obviously the football team, but really one of the better fronts in all of college football. What do you think clicked for the three of you?
Just for me, I can't speak for the other two, but just for myself, I remember, I think it was like the first or second day of fall camp, and we ran three-man front before we had a package and everything, but like that would be our base front, a 3-3-5. And I just remember Coach Rule kind of like talking to us three, towards the middle of practice, just basically saying that, look, you guys are, good football players. Just, I don't want you to overthink nothing. Just react and just get to the quarterback, and he basically just gave us a good green light, instead of just, as far as the end position, focusing on just containing the quarterback. He didn't really want that. He just wanted us to get to the quarterback at the end position. And however we got that, whether going inside or outside or through the guy, he just gave us the green light, and the rest was history.
Let's talk a little bit about as far as your play individually, because I think everybody who's a senior, they play with two things: the urgency, because this is the last go around more than likely. Or if you do have that urgency, it's coupled with the fact that if I'm going to get noticed by an NFL franchise, I better start doing it from the season opener against Stephen F. Austin to, all the way through wherever the season takes us. And of course, that was the Sugar Bowl against Georgia. So what was kind of your purpose about what you could show, not only to help Baylor make this push for what it did, but also put yourself in a position to, here you are with your opportunity in the NFL?
I mean, first and foremost, I would have, I like to think of myself as a hard worker for the most part. And I just kind of remember telling myself, the beginning of January that, hey, this is it. This is your last year. Don't get discouraged on anything. And, just for once, just give yourself 100%, 110, effort every single day, not just, Monday through Friday, just Sunday through Sunday, 24/7. I'm going to eat the best. I'm going to drink the best. I'm going to compete the best. I'm going to practice the best. I'm going to lift the best. And that was just kind of my mindset, man. And just everything I did, I try to do it elitely and just try to give myself some sort of edge. And like you say, this is my last year. This is my last chance to get noticed. And just I was like, I just tell myself I'm going to play as hard as I possibly can, and just really pay attention to everything, every single thing, and not just my coach, but any coach, tells me. And I just really took that to heart, and I just applied that, 24/7. I deleted Twitter. I stopped playing video games for like 4 months. I mean, I was really, really locked in. And I just think ultimately that was like the real key to my, my success this past season.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, did you ever sense that or feel like you fulfilled everything that you wanted to do during the course of the season? Or did you ever sense I left a little bit here and there and I could have done more? I mean, I guess every player feels that way, but
Yeah.
as a whole, did you sense that you really got everything out of yourself in that senior season that you possibly could have?
I mean, so you can look at the numbers. Statistically, it's no doubt that this is the best season I've ever had in college football. I mean, even if you want to get analytic, if you just go back and watch any of my tape, I played the most, obviously, and I played really, really well. Well, not perfect, obviously. No player is perfect, but I played better. And then, I mean, yeah, like you said, like I did leave some stuff on the table, but like you said, that's any player. There's so much more room for improvement, and I just like to say, like, you watch SFA and you watch, Georgia, there's just like a night and day difference. I just felt like each week I continued to get better and better and better. And the process worked for me. Coach Rule's process worked for me. So I'm just thankful.
So let's transition back to talking about your conversations with the Steelers. Obviously, when they became the team that was interested in signing you, what's kind of been their message to you, and what have you all been doing in terms of just getting ramped up in your process, in terms of just virtual team meetings, virtual rookie camps, things like that? So where do you stand with all of that right now?
So, I've only spoken to the general manager. I've spoken to Terry Cousins, who's in charge of player development over there, and I've spoken to the head strength and conditioning coach. So I haven't really talked to a whole lot of people, believe it or not. And basically, as of right now, just according to the player development, they're just, as of right now, we should just be only talking to him and the head strength coach. So we're just currently, I had my first orientation meeting with me and the other draftees and some of the free agent guys. So we had like a good conversation yesterday. And then basically everything's kind of up in the air for the most part. I just know we start mini camp next Friday. And man, I'm just taking it one day at a time, just working out. And just, their guess is just as good as mine. And, I would imagine it's like that for probably all 32 teams right now. So, everything's just kind of up in the air. But only thing I'm doing, I'm just controlling what I can control. And that's just working out, sleeping, and just, trying to hydrate and eat well.
Sure. So and next Friday, meaning May the 8th, is that correct? Because I just want to make
Yeah.
sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, gotcha on that. I mean, our teams, because we've talked to a couple players where teams are actually sending them laptops, that sort of thing. So they will be in uniform with their stuff. Anything like the Steelers are doing anything like that, or is it just going to be?
They mentioned that. Not really. I'm not gonna say specifically a laptop, and I've heard that from my other teammates that they got something going on. I know they got some technology stuff like they're going to be sending us, and they're going to be trying as well. And
Mhm.
keep in mind, and I'm really just telling you all that I really know,
Sure,
because
sure.
they don't know everything that's going on right now, and I've only talked to a handful of people, but yeah, I think we're going to try to experiment with some different forms of technology and platforms and stuff like that. Use Zoom, of course, and I think we're going to try something called 360. I'm
Mhm.
not 100% sure what that is as well, but all I know as of right now that minicamp starts next Friday, and I think we'll be able to, do meetings and stuff like that. And I'm not 1,000% sure on how the workouts and stuff are going on
Mhm.
that, but I'm just taking it one day at a time.
As we were discussing prior before we started this discussion, our video journalist Stephen Cook talked about obviously one of the more storied franchises in the NFL with the Super Bowl champions, and of course and again talked about the curtain. Back in those glory days, back in the 1970s with Dwight White, L.C. Greenwood, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, those
Yeah.
guys that
No.
were. Well, I was a kiddo when they were around. You weren't even around yet when those
Yeah.
guys, but you know of the Steelers' storied history. So the fact that you are going to try and earn a spot there with that kind of history there, what does that signal to you because of all what that franchise has represented to the NFL over the years?
Man, it's historical. I mean, everything you just said, they have a very established brand. I love the way they play defense. I've always said that since I started really understanding and grasping like the defense of football and everything. But yeah, man, it's just an honor just to have an opportunity.
Mhm.
Just to know like, hey, like the Pittsburgh Steelers are interested in James Lockhart, little old me out of Ennis, Texas. So it's a humbling experience. But I mean, I'm just gonna go in, keep my head down, and I'm just gonna do everything they ask of me at a very high level, and ultimately, I'll pray it pays off.
Ever been to Pittsburgh?
No, I have not. I have not. I've traveled the United States a decent amount for a 23-year-old guy, but I've never been to Pittsburgh.
Well, it's really cool because I've been to Pittsburgh several times just for work-related measures. And what's really cool is that now the airport is really far away from downtown Pittsburgh itself. It's about a 25-minute drive. But once you
Okay.
clear the mountains and you get across the bridge and you cross over the bridges over the rivers, you'll see the stadium off to your left, Heinz
Mhm.
Field there. It's a really kind of a picturesque. It just kind of stands out by itself. And the downtown itself is really, really cool just because everything is in walking distance. PNC Park where the Pirates
Yeah.
play, it's all in walking. It's a really cool experience as to how that city functions from a downtown perspective. So I'm just giving you quick
Yeah.
pointers on that. And so,
Hey, I appreciate it. I wish I had a pen around me. I would have took some notes, but I appreciate that. Thank you,
yeah.
man.
Let's talk a little bit about as far as what you've done, over these last couple of months. I've asked Ross this question. I've asked Jordan this question about what was important for you in your workouts in terms of just from when the Sugar Bowl ended to where you are today. What was important for you in just maintaining yourself in the best condition? Anything that you worked on specifically, or was it just a routine that you had during the week?
So I'll just kind of give you the spark notes of like my process. So as soon as the season ended, I gave myself 3 days off. I didn't do nothing. I just chilled, relaxed, kind of just healed from the game. And then after that, I was hitting it and getting it. I started doing like some active recovery stuff with Coach Kent Johnson. He's currently with the Carolina Panthers, but he was worked with Baylor for us, Clay Johnson's father.
Right.
Worked out with him and the Baylor strength coach for about 2 weeks, and then ultimately I just thought it was be in my best interest to go train somewhere else just to get the experience and just try to improve my overall athleticism. So I went to Fort Worth, which is about an hour from my hometown, Ennis, Texas. And I went to work out at APEC in Fort Worth, ran by Bobby Stroop and Taylor Cook and all those guys. So it was a very, very great experience, humbling experience. Guys that I got recruited with out of high school or guys I played against in college, they were working out there. It was I'll say about 25, 30 guys there. And just overall, we just worked on, combine drills, pro day drills, and, just doing football drills and a whole lot of other stuff as well. But, I felt like I was really, really ready, man. I bet you probably heard that from everyone, all my other teammates. But man, I was really feeling confident about pro day. I wasn't really talking a whole lot. I really wasn't on social media a whole lot. But man, I feel like my overall athleticism, it's improved overall, and I was really ready to test. Man, I felt like I was going to put up some really good numbers for myself.
Was that kind of a blow when it didn't happen, or did you just find a way to just react and say, okay, this is what it is, and we just have to find a way to just keep my name out there circulating?
Yeah, well, I mean, at first I was kind of like, well, to be truthful with you, at first I was kind of like in a panic, or not panic, but I was kind of shocked, like what was going on. Like I couldn't believe that all these universities, or at least in Texas, are shutting down, and then the whole quarantine and stuff. Like I just remember that week specifically. It just every single thing was happening. Like,
Right.
pro day, it was first we couldn't work out at APEC. Like the government shut everything down, like everything. And then like literally like that same day, the next day, like I think, they said Tom Hanks and his wife got corona.
Yeah.
And then Charles Barkley said, he thinks he has it. And then after that, like my pro day got canceled or whatever. So it was like in the same day or like within 48 hours, a lot of it was happening. So I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy. But then after that, I came home with my mom. We talked about, some things like future and everything. And, ultimately at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I can control what I can control. So I just went back to work. I started working out, in my high school and everything. And just doing drills and just trying to stay in shape and everything. Because, you never know, we still don't know what's going to happen in, the next coming months or coming weeks or whatever. So like the only thing in my mindset is I'm just going to keep working as hard as I possibly can and just doing what I've been doing since January and February and just try to, stay in shape the best way I possibly can.
And just to let everyone know, James and I crossed paths many, many years ago when he was actually a senior at Ennis High School, and I was actually covering Aledo radio and that famous state quarterfinal game in Midlothian. Remember when that wind was sweeping down there?
Oh my goodness!
And so that I've never seen the wind get into that stadium and swoop around like that, and how it could make how chaos and how anyone could get the ball, especially if it was blowing out of the south, which it was at that time.
Yeah,
because that was kind of a muggy night there that Saturday evening. So
Saturday
afternoon. So
I remember it being really cold, man. Especially in that second half. It's like I guess my adrenaline was going. I don't know. Maybe to the fans and everyone else, it was cold. But like that first half, I didn't really feel it. But I remember coming out of that third quarter, it's just like the temperature just dropped drastically. So, but yeah, I mean, that was a windy game. I still get frustrated when I drive through Midlothian sometimes and pass it. That was the one that got away. But yeah, man, good times.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a wonderful football game too. That state quarterfinal game. Two great programs at that time as well. So, final question for you, James. What's going to be important for you to show once you get everything technologically set up with the Steelers? But what's going to be important for you to show them on whatever it is that you're going to be showing them, so that you can create the impression that you hope to create?
Well, I mean, like I said, I don't know everything that's going to happen next Friday, during this mini camp. The biggest thing is just really show my coaches whenever I meet them, that, I'm a good guy. We don't know each other. Just show them my character. And then on top of that, just show them that, hey, this is a guy that, yeah, he wasn't drafted, but, he works hard. He knows football. He can learn football, and he's coachable. And I think ultimately those things they'll carry over, for my life and, for the team. So, yeah, man, like I said, I don't know how this virtual mini camp's going to work. I don't know if we're going to be working out or not, but we'll find out. But just basically, man, I just want to learn the defense, man, and just really study it. My intentions, I don't know how long the camp's going to be. I don't know how it's going to work, but I mean, I'm going to just really take notes diligently. And then, whenever everything's all said and done that day, just reflect over my notes for like 30 minutes, like, okay, like this is what was said today. Okay, I remember when coach said this, or okay, I remember we went over that. Okay, let me draw this up again. Okay, well, just little stuff like that. Things that Coach Rule and Phil Snow and all those guys at Baylor just taught us and stuff like that. And I'm going to take what I did, my time at Baylor, and just hopefully, it translates over at Pittsburgh.
All right. Well, James, we really appreciate you doing this with us tonight. And we wish you nothing but the best with the curtain when everything gets started a week from Friday on the 8th. And we'll continue to track your progress. Want to thank your folks, too, for helping coordinate this as well. It's been great talking with you, catching up. And again, congratulations on getting with the Steelers. And again, our continued best wishes to you and for your success.
All right, appreciate you, man. Thank you, guys. Thank you for allowing me to be on the show and everything. I appreciate you. Y'all stay safe out there.
All right. That's James Lockhart, the famed Baylor defensive end, and as he is getting ready for his journey into the NFL with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm Kevin Lonnquist. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you all next time.